Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. My name's Colin. This is Colin Talks Crypto. And right now we are seeing some testing times. We're seeing Bitcoin crashing from really its peak, I think like 90 days ago at $69,000 for one Bitcoin, down to where it is today, roughly $35,000 per Bitcoin. And just in the last day or two, it's tanked tremendously, a very sharp decline. And I just wanted to spend a few moments talking about this and my outlook on what I see and why I think what's happening and the path forward and what lays in store for us. This is just my take on it, so allow me to share my opinion with you, and please share yours in the comments below, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please do try to keep your emotions in check, because there is a lot of pain, and I understand completely. People's portfolios, including mine, have tanked dramatically. The price of our assets have dropped a bunch almost overnight, and it's painful and it hurts, and I understand. But try to have friendly and civil discourse, because without that, discussion doesn't really get far. And I think that we can have a lot better time helping each other when we keep it level-headed. So let's start off with the fear. I mean, my goodness, I haven't seen this much fear in a very, very long time. I think really since the pandemic crash of March in 2020. That's the last time I personally felt this much kind of residual market fear. I think that the current crash we're seeing is actually more fearful, from what I can see in the space, than even the more recent drop from 64,000 back down to 30,000. Now, the ironic thing is that both of those crashes I just mentioned, the COVID crash back in 2020 in March, which was, what was that? $9,000 or $10,000 Bitcoin down to $3,000 Bitcoin. And the more recent one of $64,000 down to $29,000. You'll note that our price currently of $35,000 is higher than both of those two crashes. And yet, what did I just say? It seems like this is the most fearful crash since COVID. And yet we're, how many times higher than $3,000 are we? We're like 12 times higher in price, or 11 times higher in price currently than we were back in March of 2020. And we are $6,000 higher than we were in the more recent crash down to $29,000. So that's just to put it in perspective. And if you look at the $29,000 bottom, that local bottom, like I said, we're not down that far yet. And the fact that we're above it, to me, is still bullish. I do still think the Bitcoin bull run is on. I think that we are seeing a very interesting bull run cycle, to say the least. I think that at this point, it's looking like it's going to be a double sub-peak with a final blow-off top. And we've never seen that before. So it's definitely breaking ground into kind of a new pattern. I mean, nothing's going to repeat perfectly, so it shouldn't be a big surprise. If we expect the exact same perfect parabolic moves every time without any deviation, I think we're fooling ourselves. And this bull run has been a real test. I'm sure many of you can agree with me on that. It's been a real test of our mental fortitude, our ability to hold, and our diamond or paper hands. And hopefully most of my listeners have diamond hands out there. That being said, this has been a rocky ride, unlike any previous bull run. I think the closest one it comes to is 2013, where we saw that run up to $255, a drop back down to like $80, and then a final run up to $1,150. And that was the biggest sub peak we've seen, aside from the more recent one of $64,000. So anyways, back to the fear. Yes, I'm noticing a ton of fear in the space. On Twitter, the sentiment is very, very bearish. And I find that interesting, because typically what will happen is if you truly have a euphoric moment, the top of a bull run cycle, that's where you get denial that there's going to be a bear market. And we're seeing the opposite of that. I'm seeing a predominance of comments that are very embracing fear, filled with doubt and lashing out, saying things like, you were wrong about this prediction, and CBBI is invalidated, and the bull run's over. We're in a full-on bear market, and we've been in a bear market since $69,000. And that is a possibility. I'm not casting that out the window. That's definitely a possibility. But I want to explain to you why I think that that's actually the minority possibility, the lesser possibility at this point. And I'm not just saying that because I have my head up my ass and I'm unable to entertain the idea that we could be in a bear market. Like when we're in a bear market, I will call it as such. I'm not afraid to do that. I've been in a bear market several times before. If you followed my channel early on, I didn't think that we were in a bull run at the very beginning. So I just want to let you know, I am able to see the difference between a bull run and a bear market. Now, whether I'm right or not is another factor. And yes, I could absolutely be wrong. And the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index could absolutely be wrong. It is an experimental new index. That being said, here's my case for why I think we're still in a bull run and why I think that the bear market critics are actually likely to be incorrect. I think that there's a minority chance that they're going to be correct. Well, like it or not, currently in this day and age, the Bitcoin price is strongly correlated to the stock market. It has not decoupled. And I believe strongly that the reason we're seeing such a sharp drop in the Bitcoin price and the corresponding crypto market price is because of the stock market. It's not because of what crypto is doing. It's not because of Bitcoin. It's because of the stock market. Everything's tanking. All assets are in some greater or lesser degree tied to the stock market. And so when you have a stock market crash, you're going to have a Bitcoin and crypto market drop and correction. We've seen it time and time again. Anyone who denies that there's a correlation has their heads in the sand. And I do hope that that changes someday, and I do think that it will. But as of today, they are correlated. So let's take a couple of clues here. First of all, let's take just a random one. Nancy Pelosi. Back in December, she and her husband purchased a large amount of tech stock call options, which means they are incredibly bullish for the future of tech. And there's an article, I'll try to link it in the description below, where it names all the different assets they purchased call options for. Doesn't really matter. All of the stock market is sort of correlated. So the point is that Nancy Pelosi, she has insider information, clearly. She's clearly got insider information and she's trading on that. And yes, that is illegal, but there's no maybe way to prove it, so she continues to do so. And the point here is that, like I said, insider information. That means, by definition, she knows more than the rest of us. And if she knows more than the rest of us, what exactly does she know that makes her so confident in buying a large amount of call options, which are future predictions on upward price movements for the stock market? So I just wanted to plant that seed in your minds. We have someone who has insider information, who is very bullish, and put their money where their mouth is, and has historically been correct about those plays because she has performed way better than your average investor. And there's no real way to do that unless you have a lot of knowledge that everyone else doesn't have. So now there's that being said. And so what happened more recently? Currently, we have a stock market dip. I don't know if I would call it a crash, but it's definitely a steep downward movement. It depends how far out you zoom to determine how much of a crash you want to call it. And I don't think that it's over yet. And it's interesting that this crash was basically caused by the talk, not the actual act of, but the talk of raising interest rates. So I find that interesting that just the mere speaking of raising interest rates could have the effect of tanking the stock market. I think that the Fed is likely, this is my prediction, is likely to note that, and the last thing they can allow to have happen is a stock market crash. They would do anything to prevent that from happening. So if they can observe, which I'm sure they do, that the mere talking and hinting and suggesting of raising interest rates has this bad of an effect on the stock market, because we're having a little crash right now, then the last thing they're going to do is actually raise the interest rates. It's almost like they got to test the waters by hinting at it, and the market responded very, very negatively. And so what I think is going to happen is they're going to back down, and I think they're going to remain with low interest rates. And what's going to happen is upon that news, that confirmation that they're no longer threatening to raise the interest rates, the market, the stock market, the traditional Wall Street markets are going to rebound and yet again head upward like they have been doing for decades on end. This is the manipulated nature of the stock market, and we all know this. I think most of you that are listening to my channel are pretty aware that the stock market is highly, highly manipulated, and they control these various levers of inflation and interest rates to control it. And that's why it's not a truly free and fair market. So we can use that knowledge to our advantage. We can know that we have insiders such as Nancy Pelosi betting big on tech stocks, which means that she's strongly confident about the future price of those tech stocks and the stock market in general. We can know that the discussion about raising interest rates led to a crash. So the Fed is likely to not carry through with that. And the Fed is likely to make a statement that they're going to continue with lower interest rates. So that's my way of saying that Bitcoin isn't failing here, and the price isn't dropping because of anything that has to do with Bitcoin. It's because of the stock market. And I think, like I said, that the Fed is going to insist on lower interest rates to keep the market afloat. They will do anything in their power to keep the market going as long as possible. So when that happens, the stock market's going to rebound, and so is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And that, I think, is going to begin the final leg of this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency bull run. That is why I don't think it's over yet. Now, here's some more facts to back this up. If you take a look at the CBBI, the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index, you can find the website at CBBI.info. Click on each one of those metrics at the bottom and open them up into a new tab. It'll take you to the actual page for that metric. Every one of them except for the halving to peak, which was a customized metric that Camille Monich and myself created. So the other 10 metrics, you can open up and look at the charts. And just take a look for yourself and ask yourself, do those look like they topped out? And what you'll find is you'll be answering that question no, because that composite of all those metrics is what makes up the CBBI score. And that's why when you look at the chart for the CBBI score, it doesn't go to 100 this cycle. It goes to like 70 something. It's not peaking out. It's not a blow off top, because none or nearly none, except for the pi cycle top indicator, nearly none of the metrics indicated we had seen that final top. So we have a lot of factors pointing to this Bitcoin crash that we're seeing right now was simply caused by the stock market. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes, the Bitcoin price could have been a bit overheated and needed some correcting. That's common, that's normal. But I don't think it would be fair to say that we're in a Bitcoin bear market. I think that we're in a stock market crash affecting all assets, temporary correction cycle for Bitcoin. And like I said, when the stock market rebounds, which it almost surely will, it's going to take crypto with it because they're correlated. And that means the final leg of the Bitcoin bull run. So guys, all of you who are fearing and in panic and worried, I want you to think about this and put this in perspective. I truly think that this is what's going to happen. Of course, someday there will be a catastrophe crash level event of depression level magnitude. Will this be it? I don't think we're there quite yet. I think we're going to live to see another day. When that happens, yes, everything goes down and it stays down basically until crypto resurrects from the dead. If Bitcoin does drop below 29,000 and stays there for a while, then I feel like that's a fairly good confirmation that we're in a bear market. But we're not there yet. We're at 35,000 or so. And so if you zoom out enough, the chart looks still fairly bullish. And I just spoke with Camille, the developer of the CBBI, and we both talked about what we think's happening in the market. And we both agree that this is the case. This is a stock market influenced Bitcoin drop, nothing more and nothing less. And when it brings the price back up for the stocks, it brings back up the price for Bitcoin. And get ready, because that's going to be a heck of a freaking ride. If that's the case, and if we do see that next leg up, like I think we will, and like Camille thinks we will, then it's going to be a massive, massive run up, because there is a bit of a time decay factor in the CBBI. And so the longer you wait, the longer you procrastinate that bull run peak, the higher it has to go to get the score to reach 100. And that's because that's the fact for all the underlying metrics. There's a sort of a time factor built into them, a time decay. So you need to have a disproportionately larger bull run for the longer that you wait to have that peak. And because we all expected the Bitcoin bull run peak to happen in December or January, and it didn't, which isn't surprising, the market takes the path of most pain, and it sure did. It's going to have to go way higher than originally thought to make the CBBI and all its metrics equal 100 on the score. So before I thought the price will reach 100 to 300,000, I still think that's a safe range. But now I would be willing to say that I think that 300,000 is a lot more likely than 100,000. If I had to pick a direction, I think that the higher end of that scale is more likely than the lower end of that scale. So I think it's more likely to see a $250,000 price than a $150,000 price, and so on. And I just wanted to add that if we truly are in a bear market and it is confirmed in time, for example, consistent price performance below $29,000, then I will admit it and I will acknowledge that the CBBI has been invalidated. That is a possible outcome. I don't think that it's the likeliest outcome, but it always is a chance, and I am not ignoring that. So in case you think that I have my head in the sand, I don't. It's always a possibility, and I sure hope it's not, but what I hope doesn't matter. It's what actually happens that matters. So we will find out, and I will share with you guys if I feel the CBBI has finally been invalidated. But at this point, I don't think so, and I still believe that we have another leg up in this Bitcoin bull run. So guys, I hope you found this interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please do try to keep your emotions in check, because there is a lot of pain, and I understand completely. People's portfolios, including mine, have tanked dramatically. You know, the price of our assets have dropped a bunch almost overnight, and it's painful and it hurts, and I understand. But try to have friendly and civil discourse, because without that, discussion doesn't really get far. And I think that we can have a lot better time helping each other when we keep it level-headed. So guys, I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.